Assemblyman Stec.
Thank you, Chairman. Commissioner, thanks for coming here today for your testimony.
Thank you, sir.
I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank you and DEC for all the work you do across the state on so many issues that are important. And in particular, you and your staff for the great legislative work that we've done together with local government and environmental groups over the past several years, including, not limited to, a few constitutional amendments.
Right.
With that, though, I want to make sure that we continue to work together in this collaborative method moving forward. I think that a lot of the issues that we face are going to be best dealt with local government and environmental groups and stakeholders in general, all on the same page.
Agreed.
And there's a couple things in the budget that concern me a little bit about rocking that boat or damaging or taking a step back from the forward progress that we're making. And two in particular that I'll ask together because they really go to the heart of keeping local government whole financially from a fiscal standpoint. One certainly is the pilot. Local governments and environmental groups, essentially all are gravely concerned with this. And I guess my question would be, where's DEC stand on this? Do you see value in this, knowing that local government has veto over future land purchases in the Adirondacks and the Catskills? And, is this really building on that good faith and collaborative successes that we've had? And related to the pilot, I know Assemblywoman Warner brought up 480A and 480B. And I'm curious, I'm not sure I heard the answer to this question in your response to her, but the cost to local government, and is that going to be addressed and taken care of? Because I know that local government is very concerned about that, and I think the good news here is that we're talking about a relatively small financial impact to the state, but these are, there's a state value to this program, and so, I think the local government perspective in the Adirondacks is the state and not local government should be the one to bear the cost of that. So those two things for starters, please.
Sure. Well, on the pilot, this is a proposal of Tax and Finance to change the way in which assessments are made from year to year on state-owned lands. I've been assured that the proposal itself will not change the amount of money that's going from the state into local government. I know this is an efficiency initiative at Tax and Finance. It's very important for state, obviously, to remain more efficient and to spend less time on staff time, more time actually, implementing programs. So I've been assured, certainly have seen the concerns raised directly to me and in the papers, and I know that the budget director has indicated certainly this program a willingness to ensure that it doesn't have unintended consequences, and DEC will be at the table for those discussions.
And 480A and B?
480A and B. The program itself that we're proposing wouldn't take effect until next year. So the impacts to local government wouldn't take effect until next year and beyond. But what we're setting up through this program is a commitment to effectively keep municipalities whole on this. We would do that through our budgets, ways in which we'd have to work that out, with the legislature next year, and ultimately work it out through the executive budget next year. But the impacts would not be felt until 2019 and beyond.
And the proposal includes a reimbursement formula that would be, we're proposing to codify that in the state finance law for how that would work for municipalities impacted by 1% or more.
All right. Well, again, I'll just reiterate on behalf of the 100 some odd local governments in the Adirondacks. I think to a town, there's grave concern over what these formulas may or may not look like and whether or not they will or will not be stuck to going forward, which is why you're getting the calls and letters and emails from local government about these two programs.
Sure.
The other question that I wanted to ask, I think really goes, I'll build off of what Chairman Engelbright brought up is, my words, getting the funding out the door, or is there a mismatch between the amount of work you're being asked to do and the funding and staffing that is available to you? Specifically, ranger staffing is always a question, especially as we acquire more lands. And then infrastructure, the maintenance of effort from an infrastructure standpoint, specifically on our lakes, the properties that the boat launches that DEC owns and maintains on the various lakes, including Lake George and Lake Champlain. And one specific one that I'm going to make an appeal for, it's been kicking around for far too long, but there's a boat launch in Saranac Lake. That's a bathroom that really could use a little TLC.
Okay.
But you know, and there's some lingering issues with the state land master plan update, the numerous unit management plans that have been kicking around in dire need of updates going back years. There's a backlog of UMP work that's holding up other good work that everyone wants to do. They recognize it, but the paper trail hasn't caught up, and there's no end in sight as to how quickly that paper trail will catch up. And along that lines, in the last part of this, you know, was the seeker process. A lot of complaints over just the burdensome nature of the seeker process. And has anything been done, I guess, on seeker, slump, and UMPs to put those resources there so that we can catch up and you know, update our seeker and certainly our UMPs?
Okay, there's a lot in there.
I only have 5 minutes.
Let me see if I can do it quickly. So infrastructure, New York Works has been in effect since 2011, and we got a big boost last year in New York Works, which the governor set forth as Adventure New York. We mixed that up with some of the stewardship monies in EPF, and have launched an initiative to restore some of our infrastructure. I will agree with you that there are many locations around the state, DEC facilities, same thing happened with Parks facilities, where there was literally decades of neglect. And when we came in 6-7 years ago, we found that we had a real infrastructure burden. We've been slowly chipping away at that. I mean, there are some locations around the state, unlike Saranac boat launch and the restroom there.
Don't forget that one. Saranac Lake,
That's
the
now seared in
bathroom.
my memory.
Because the governor uses that bathroom.
All right. That's all you had to say. That's all you say.
I'm not going to ask you how you know that.
I know these things. I have my ways. We'll leave it at that.
So we have developed a master list. I brought on somebody to specifically do these projects, basically to hone our list, prioritize it, and begin spending that money accordingly. So that the first year of Adventure New York was designed to do that. We're continuing that this year, and we're continuing it for the foreseeable future. We're seeing record tourism now in the Adirondacks, Catskills. We want to see people come and want to come back. And part of it is giving them a good experience when they're there. So key to that is infrastructure. So you have my commitment to look at the Saranac Lake bathrooms and certainly push forward the Adventure New York package. Ranger levels, hear certainly quite a bit about that. I mean, our rangers have done, since I've been in state government, many, many years prior to that, they do incredible work. I know you have a personal connection to the Ranger force.
Yes, I do.
I can't say enough about what they do. And since I've been in office, I have made it my priority to give them everything that they need, both the rangers and the environmental conservation officers. They're on the front lines doing some of the most heroic and dangerous work. So I think there's a couple things. We just graduated the second class, back-to-back classes. That hasn't happened probably in 10 to 15 years. We've had back-to-back classes. There was a large cut in force, well, the Rangers and ECOs, back in the mid to late 2000s. So we're starting to restore those numbers. Actually, our Ranger numbers are at the highest level in a couple of decades. So we're starting to rebuild that force. Same thing on the ECO side. Record tourism, we get that people are going more intensively to some of these corridors, like Route 73 corridor. It's triggering more rescues. We have an obligation to spread the traffic out of it. There's some benefits to that, so you're not impacting the resources as much where it is. You're putting people into other areas of the park. That also helps the hamlets and communities that need that benefit. And using our partners out there to do some of the maintenance work and keep our rangers and ECOs focused on their core mission. So I certainly have a commitment to working with both forces to ensure they have the right numbers, get the next academy going when we can, and continue rebuilding the force. UMPs, completely agree with you. There's UMPs that have been sitting on shelves for years. We started to look into those under my predecessor, Commissioner Martens. Have begun to do that in earnest over the last few years as well. Going to put those UMPs into action because there are real needs in communities, and find ways in which to turn around projects more quickly. Several of the big projects that we're doing up in the Adirondacks right now are gaining lots of attention. All of that relies on being able to look at UMPs and do quick turnaround on UMPs and working with APA on slump issues. So I don't know if I got everything in there. Seeker, obviously, we've done Seeker amendments, attempting to streamline Seeker through collaborative outreach, and that obviously is its own beast, but we've made some progress on that and we'll be getting out final reg shortly.
All right, thanks, Commissioner. Thanks all.